Welcome to Craft on Tap, a show by beer enthusiasts for beer enthusiasts. We are so excited to kick off our very first episode right here at Broken Trail Distillery and Brewery in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're going to talk with head brewer and owner Matt Simons, discuss his philosophies on brewing and distilling, and then later we'll sit down with our expert and sip some of these libations. Are you ready? I am. Come on! Hey, welcome to Craft on Tap. I am your host, Nick Myers. I'm standing here with the head brewer at Broken Trail Distillery, Mr. Matt Simons. How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Man, I'm excited to be here. We are talking today about the brewing here. What's going on with Broken Trail? How did it start? How did you get into this?
Well, a few years back, I was doing real work for a living and got sick and tired of it. And so got together with some buddies and we decided that we wanted to try and open up a distillery and make bourbon.
So it started with bourbon and spirits, and then it sort of morphed into more beer.
Believe it or not, we were actually the first one in Albuquerque to do both a brewery and a distillery. So we were a brewery from day one. One thing that's really cool about what we do is we make 100% of our spirits from scratch.
Wow.
That sounds obvious, but it's actually relatively rare in the distilling universe. But because we were making it from scratch, we had all the equipment we needed to do the beer as well.
Awesome.
Day one, we started making beer. Right now, about 60 to 70% of our revenue comes from beer. So
Cool.
Even though we're quite the distillery, the beer kind of holds its own too.
It's good beer. Now you guys, is it 2 or 3 locations you have now?
We have 3 locations now. We have this location, which is our production location where we make everything. Green Jeans Farmery, where we specialize on our spirits. Mm-hmm. Then we have our flagship location at Uptown, Manal, Louisiana. We have all of our beers on tap. We have our spirits on tap. We make our own sodas, mixers. We do all kinds of cool stuff.
That's so awesome. And we're going to be at the other location in Uptown later, so you'll get to see more of what these folks are up to. Now, give me a little bit of a quick philosophy as a brewer. What is your main goal or focus as you're creating your craft?
The 2 things that are really important to me, first and foremost, is authenticity. I mentioned the fact that a lot of distilleries aren't making their own spirits, and that really bothers me. Part of the reason that the craft brewing industry has become what it is because people were sick and tired of factory-made beer. They wanted craft beer.
Absolutely.
So we've really staked our reputation on the fact that we're gonna make the spirits the exact same way.
Cool.
What you see is what you get back here. And that follows through with our beer. We're not gonna try and be something that we're not. It's who we are. So the other thing, more of on a personal level, is our beers tend to be very malt forward. I love hops. I love what hops do to a beer, but I feel like there's got to be some balance. And a lot of beers here in New Mexico tend to skew towards being big hop bombs, and that's cool, but I love what happens when you balance that with some big malt profile.
There has been such a resurgence or a surgence of IPAs and like you say, these really, and I'm not a huge hophead myself, so I particularly enjoy your beers because I like that malty flavor. I enjoy the smooth richness.
Even our IPA, Works Ipa, a lot of people will look at it and, well, this isn't an IPA. And it's like, well, by Albuquerque standards, maybe not. But that's because it's got some really great malt character to it, too. It's got a big hop bill, don't get me wrong, but there's so much more than just boom in your face.
Right, the palate, there's so many things you can do with the flavor palette with a beer that, you know, when you just hit it with so much hops, it maybe gets overwhelming, and that becomes the upfront center of attention. How many beers do you generally have available?
We vary between around 6 to as many as 8 or 9 beers at any given time. We do have a pretty modest brew house, and so it's tough to, put out 16, 18 beers like some of the other breweries. And the other part is we'd rather focus on
quality control, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's have a fewer number that are good. The Works Ipa that I mentioned is our best-selling beer, which I kind of laugh because, again, it's an IPA city, it's an IPA state, and it's not a big IPA. But my personal favorite is probably our Lone Pine Pilsner.
It's very good.
I love Pilsners.
Me too.
We haven't had it on tap for a while. We're hoping to get it back on tap in the next month or two.
Get it back? I need me some.
Speaking of quality, we have a full tank of it.
Oh, cool.
That is no bueno.
Does that happen a lot where you make a batch that doesn't work?
Not often, not often.
Thankfully.
No, yeah, right. We've had a few. The beauty of it is whenever we do have one, we usually just distill it and make whiskey out of it.
Oh, cool.
In this case, the beer was a little under attenuated, so it was sweet and had some raw flavor to it. So we took it out of the bright tank and are putting it in barrels. And let it age. So it'll be a barrel-aged Pilsner.
Oh, okay.
Which will be kind of interesting.
You're just
It's
trying that on a whim? You're like, well, let's try this.
It's sure as heck beats throwing it down the drain.
I mean, you can throw it down this drain right here.
Right. Well, you might not. This one maybe not. But we do a rotating series of beers where we'll take our bourbon. As soon as we empty the barrel, we'll put a beer in it.
Awesome.
And so the beauty of having that distillery built in is we have all these barrels.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing with the bad batch of Pilsner. The other one we've got, it's actually in the fermenter right now, is a newer beer that we're doing called Fred. It's Fred Belgian Tripel.
Oh, wow.
I mentioned the authenticity. That's really important to me. So it's kind of a joke in mountain biking parlance. Fred is someone who's got the really, really cool bike and the awesome jersey and spends, $10,000 looking the part, but doesn't really do it. So that's a Fred.
I like
so this
that.
was like a tongue-in-cheek poke at some of the breweries and distilleries and other people just be true to yourself.
I like that. I like that about you. You seem like a very authentic guy yourself. You've opened up your brewery this morning, your distillery to us. Can I just shift gears real quick and let everybody know out there, what are some seasonal beers? What are some beers that are out now that maybe you're really excited about that they can currently get?
Our newest beer that we just put on tap is our Goat Head Red. It's a phenomenal beer. It's actually one of probably the best beers we've done in a while.
What's the ABV or whatever of that around?
It's a little bit lower. I want to say we're in like 5.1, 5.2.
Okay.
Real mellow on the hops. So
Okay.
again, you've got that beautiful balance between the hop and the malt.
Okay.
And it's more of an Irish style. So some of these reds are practically IPAs.
Some of them are. So the Goat Head Red, that's one that you're currently excited about. Any other seasonal beers or just current beers that are on your roster that you're like, you gotta try?
Double Black, that started out as a seasonal, or Double Black Ale, and it's become a regular beer because people really, really like it. It's very unique. I've never tasted a beer like it. We use 2 different black malts, so it's jet black.
Oh, wow.
We use a big pop of Azaka hops. We wanted it to be a black IPA. It wasn't quite there because it drinks lighter than it looks. It drinks very fresh, very tropical. It's this juxtaposition of flavors when you try it.
That sounds amazing. So, in wrapping up, maybe tell our viewers anything you want them to know on the way out here.
Well, we've got a couple of whiskeys coming out. We're doing our 4th batch of bourbon. Is going to be released in the next week or 2. We're also doing a Totem Off whiskey that's going to be out probably in that same time frame. And our whiskeys, very small batches, single barrels at a time. So anytime they are released, people get excited. It moves really quick.
Cool.
So that's something that we're really excited about. Getting Fred back on tap, I think, is going to be a lot of fun.
You'll have to let us know so we can come try that.
We had a 5-gallon test batch of it and we killed it in a night.
That's what happens when
Right.
you work in a brewery.
Yeah.
And we're going to be again at the other location in Uptown, trying some beers with our Cicerone here later in the episode. But right now, I want to thank you, Matt, so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
I want to tell everyone out there to go check out Broken Trail. There's 3 locations in Albuquerque. The best place is Uptown, and Green Jeans is also a pretty cool spot. Appreciate you guys. This has been Craft on Tap.